With the new DCU fully underway, Superman will be the first film set in this new universe and has wrapped filming just this past July. With all the excitement and mystery in the air, fans are waiting on bated breath for any official news as we get closer to 2025. And just when things started to die down, Deadline announced that a brand new cast member has joined Superman in a secret role, and it is none other than...
Stephanie! Is Mad stoked to hook up with you on the quad?
Hi, I'm your host Rob, and on this episode of Atomic Vision, I'm going to uncover which secret mystery character is joining James Gunn's Superman, and why it's being kept under wraps. But first, why is this news such a big deal? Besides the fact that Alan Tudyk is joining Superman, and how incredible that is, Deadline's article contains zero information on who he's playing, calling it a secret role. DC Studios also refused to comment on the news, hinting that the casting announcement is legit because Gunn is quick to shoot down rumors. Trust me, this isn't some random scooper saying something crazy for clicks. With Deadline, that means that this is 100% happening, and the mystery around which character Alan could be playing is so spoilery, DC doesn't even want to tell us who he'll be. Now, if you don't immediately recognize Alan Tudyk from projects like Firefly, Resident Alien, or even Powerless, where he plays Bruce Wayne's cousin, Van Wayne.
B-dubs, baby! You keeping Gotham warm for me?
Alan has also voiced a ton of characters like K2SO from Rogue One, King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph, and of course, Clayface in Harley Quinn.
Please, James Gunn! Sit on me!
The range of characters Alan could play is limitless, but it's the secrecy around this announcement that's so surprising. So for this episode, I'm going to give 5 guesses as to who he's playing. To get the lamest option out of the way, my first guess is that it's a minor role, and all of this means absolutely nothing. DC and Marvel are guilty of hiring talented actors and having them play meaningless roles just for funsies. So there's a tiny chance Alan Tudyk is playing nobody. And no, not that nobody.
Is this better?
In Batman v Superman, Patrick Wilson played the President of the United States.
God have mercy on us all.
And then later on was Ocean Master in Aquaman. Jimon Hansu played the Wizard in Shazam.
Lay your hands on my staff.
Gross.
And then went on to become the Fisherman King in Aquaman also. And over at Marvel, Nathan Fillion played an alien prisoner in Guardians 1.
Check out the new meat.
And then became a prison guard in Guardians Volume 3. For all we know, Alan Tudyk could just be playing something small like a news anchor, an underling for Maxwell Lord, or even a bodiless AI character like a talking computer. The reason I think this option is lame and makes no sense is down to the Deadline article. If the role is meaningless, you don't make a casting announcement like this. Superhero films have a reputation for hiring actors for uncredited roles if the character they are playing is a spoiler. And Alan's casting announcement feels similar to when Barry Keoghan was cast in The Batman. The mystery surrounding this casting outweighs the randomness of it all, and I think Alan's role in this film is bigger than just a random Hollywood gig. My second guess is more of a crazy swing, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. What if Alan Tudyk is voicing Crypto the Superdog?
What? What the f***?
This is definitely the silliest guess, since Crypto doesn't even talk. And I know you're questioning how is this even possible, but trust me, this makes a lot of sense. In case you didn't know, Alan Tudyk isn't just an amazing voice actor, but lately he became Walt Disney Animation's new muse, and has been cameoing in all of their films going as far back as 2012. Besides King Candy,
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? You hit a guy with glasses. That's well played.
Alan Tudyk has played Duke Weaselton in Zootopia, Hey Hey the Chicken in Moana, Tuk Tuk and Raya in The Last Dragon, Pico the Toucan in Encanto, and Valentino the Talking Goat in Wish.
I'm talking. I am talking. Who knew my voice would be this low?
In other words, Alan Tudyk has voiced a lot of animals, 3 of which have 0 dialogue. As stupid as it sounds, there's a good chance that Alan Tudyk might be voicing Crypto the Superdog, in the same way that D. Bradley Baker of Clone Wars fame also voiced Appa and Momo in The Last Airbender.
Good soldiers follow orders.
The reason that I personally think this isn't happening, besides how unbelievably silly this is that yet again, why would Deadline report about Tudyk's secret role if it's just a dog that's already confirmed for the movie? A casting announcement means that there's gotta be some weight to it, and the idea that Tudyk is just making barking sounds the whole film feels like a bit of a stretch, especially for Superman.
I went to Julia.
My third guess is a wild choice, but it's something that I can definitely see Gunn doing now that he's in charge of DC. What if Alan Tudyk is playing the multi-dimensional trickster named Mr. Mikia Spitlick?
Mr. Mizzy Blizzy?
Don't bother, you'll give yourself a hernia.
For the uninformed, Mikia Spitlick is a cosmic imp from the 5th dimension that's empowered with magical and reality-warping superpowers. While most fans know that Superman's ultimate weakness is kryptonite, people tend to forget that magic is also a major Superman weakness too. That's why Shazam and Black Adam could genuinely have a real chance of fighting and defeating Superman if they wanted to. Now, why would Alan Tudyk be playing Mixie? My gut reaction tells me that Tudyk is a comedic actor and Mixie's a comedic DC character, so combining the two just makes sense, you know? Mixie is like the trickster god Loki over at Marvel, but instead of wallowing in anger and frustration, Mixie's personality is like the Mask, which fits Tudyk's comedic style.
My legs.
Plus, under Gunn and Safran's leadership at DC Studios, they're aiming to bring characters that Warner Brothers has repeatedly ignored. And to most of us fans, it really feels like WB thinks DC's just the Batman factory. On the opposite end, the reason that I think Mixie might be one step too far for Superman's DCU debut is that this film is already filled to the brim with DC characters as it is. Besides Superman and his Daily Planet family, we have Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner Green Lantern, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Maxwell Lord, and Lex Luthor joining the film, and most of these will be playing a smaller role here anyway. If Mixie is indeed in this film and is played by Tudyk, it might be a post-credit tease for a follow-up film. But the only way that could even remotely work is if this film sets up Mixie properly. Either the film establishes Superman's weakness against magic, or it's a one-off joke, reference, or Easter egg, because otherwise, his cameo at the end of the film will feel too jarring, and superhero films have a bad track record with that already.
Oh, my ears! Hang on.
But now we are down to the last two guesses, both of which are extremely likely and make a ton of sense. My fourth guess is that Alan Tudyk is reprising his role of Dr. Phosphorus from Creature Commandos, the animated TV series that will be the first DCU project released this December.
You smiling?
Yes.
Sarcastically?
Mm-hmm.
For the uninitiated, Dr. Phosphorus is a scientist who works with nuclear energy, and one day a nuclear reactor accidentally cracks open, exposing him full of radiation, and thereby turning him into a metahuman. His skin and organs turn invisible, and now his touch is purely radioactive. Like I've said before, Alan Tudyk has played a lot of wacky and animated characters, and if Dr. Phosphorus makes the jump to live action in Superman, he'll be a fully CGI character, not too dissimilar to Sonny from iRobot or K2SO from Rogue One.
Congratulations. You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Now you're probably saying to yourself, why on earth would Dr. Phosphorus appear in Superman? And isn't that the same issue with Mikia Spitlick? Well, it's been officially confirmed that Frank Grillo will also be reprising his role as Rick Flag Sr. from Creature Commandos in Superman, which means that Argus will also be joining him, potentially even Amanda Waller as well. So if Flag is in Superman, there's enough room where maybe a character from Creature Commandos also makes the jump to live action to help establish this universe to general audiences. Out of all the cool and crazy characters from Creature Commandos, only one of them is a scientist, and only one of them is played by Alan Tudyk. So Alan may be just playing the same character in live action. Then again, to play devil's advocate here, just because someone plays a character in the DCU doesn't mean they are tied to just that one character. And since Alan Tudyk is such a versatile of an actor, who's to say he's reprising his role at all?
This is some bullshit.
My last guess is the one that prompted me to make this entire video, and it is the one that I fully believe could possibly be the secret mystery character in Superman. And it's none other than Brainiac.
First Krypton, now Metropolis. This world is mine.
Brainiac is Superman's second most iconic supervillain out of his rogues gallery, and yet he's never made his theatrical debut over the last 66 years. Every time a Superman movie is announced, Lex Luthor or Zod are always the go-to villains, and even now, Gunn's first Superman film will have Lex as the main antagonist again. So why do I believe that Alan Tudyk is playing Brainiac, and doesn't this casting sound just as complicated as Mixie? You'd be correct, but what makes this all tied together is this newest film's logline. Superman follows the titular superhero as he reconciles his heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way, in a world that views this as old-fashioned. Now, everyone's been focusing on the last part because of how dour Superman has been represented in media, but it feels like everyone's ignoring the first half. If Gunn's script didn't see any major rewrites, this film will be about Clark dealing with his Kryptonian heritage and his new life on Earth, and how being a person from two different worlds makes you unique. And one of the best ways to showcase the difference is to do what Superman content always loves doing, and it's showing off Soup's rocket pod or the Fortress of Solitude. Either way, in order to make the Kryptonian part of him represented in the film, we'll need to see his legacy through tech, holograms, or flashbacks, just like in My Adventures with Superman. And I don't know about you, but a certain supervillain is also a talking AI system built on Krypton that's solely responsible for the downfall of the entire planet. In certain versions of Superman, Brainiac is the mastermind behind Krypton's doom, and with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow being fast-tracked as the next DCU film, Brainiac could be the next major villain that sees our two heroes teaming up together to defeat in Superman 2. Now the bigger question is, why would they cast Alan Tudyk as Brainiac? If you haven't noticed, when it comes to James Gunn's superhero films, his choice of actors for the villains are never obvious or on the nose. It's usually random, oddly specific, or a chance to showcase talent on an A-list level without hiring an actual A-lister. Well, ignoring Kurt Russell in Guardians 2.
Excuse me. Gotta take a whiz.
In Guardians 1, Lee Pace played Ronan the Accuser, and outside of die-hard film fans, a majority of audiences aren't super familiar with the actor, despite seeing him in the Hobbit films or the recent Foundation TV series. In Guardians Volume 3, Chukwudi Iwuji played the High Evolutionary, and again, this isn't exactly A-list casting. Despite this, Chukwudi's performance proved that Gunn made the right call, and it gave the actor the chance to truly shine.
I made you! How did you know?
And lastly, the Suicide Squad had 3 villains, 2 of which were played by Joaquin Cosio, Peter Capaldi, and a giant starfish. So hiring character actors for major villain roles is kind of a James Gunn thing. Alan Tudyk has proven himself time and time again that he is a versatile actor who can play practically anything. And I think it's high time that he gets the chance to play a villain on a level we haven't seen before. And of any villain in the DC universe, who better to play than the robotic being responsible for the death of Superman's homeworld and family?
Kal-El of Krypton.
Here I'm Superman.
A better oxymoron I have not heard.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Atomic Vision, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.
There it is. I'm bored. What is wrong with me?
You're a sociopathic narcissist.
It was rhetorical, asshole.